Welcome to Isn't It Obvious, where things are obvious. That's going to be the intro. Well, thank you for listening to the COVID-19 edition of Isn't It Obvious?
Oh, this is all Patreon only.
Where we don't...
Who knows?
This is actually where we start the podcast.
Where
and all the other
everybody
ones
wins and the points don't matter. Actually, no one wins. No one wins.
Get some scenes going on.
I have to say, Micah, this is the first time I've seen your dwelling, and it looks very charming.
It's not.
It looks nice.
I was gonna say, don't lie to him. Don't lie to him.
Well, I am not lying. It's like, it looks like there's books and cool things in the background, and it looks nice.
Well, your room looks sad.
Thank you. I
And
appreciate
blank.
that. Really appreciate that. Yeah,
So,
my room is...
We're getting a tour of Micah's home right now.
Yeah, it's nice.
via Google Hangouts.
No.
Phil just moved in, so there's literally nothing in there except his desk and his computer,
That's fine.
Well,
his chair, and himself.
Actually,
It's more of a
if you
home than
guys
my house
can see it, I have
I mean, how many monitors do you need,
my
Phil?
workstation is right here,
Monitors.
and
2 keyboards.
I have my regular laptop in the background, so I can throw things on there as well as I'm sadly typing away TPS reports for the rest of my goddamn life.
Are they actually TPS reports?
Someone had, hey, Phil, I need you to fill out this TPS report, like, as a joke kind of thing. But then I was like, oh, can you send me the document number? I haven't seen that procedure before. And they're like...
You did not put a gutted fish on there?
No, I was like, I was really confused. I was like, what, you need another report? But I just gave you this report. Why wasn't this report good? I don't know, man. It's just bureaucracy. Anyway.
I do like your circa 2004 headset.
These are my Rosetta headphones that are basically frayed. Like, it doesn't have like the padding anymore. It just has like the foam. They're falling apart. But the thing is, I remember getting this about 8 years ago because at one time they were giving free Rosetta stuff for like German. I signed up for it. This is like 2 companies ago. And
I remember
they're
Rosetta
like,
Stone.
hey, Phil, can you give your headset back? And I'm like, nope, these are mine now. And they're like,
Give it
okay, cool,
back?
whatever.
What the hell?
Yeah, I was like, no, wait, man.
Also gross.
Yeah,
like,
right.
what
I
are they
was
going
like,
to do with it?
I
You
was-
can't reuse
Oh, that's so
headphones.
gross.
That's disgusting. I don't even think, even with my brother, I wouldn't share headphones. That's disgusting.
Before going to
Not
Florida,
without,
my
like-
brother asked if he could use my deodorant for one day because he didn't pack any. And I had a near panic attack. I was just like, what? No. God, no.
It's like sharing a...
Okay, to be fair, I have used my brother's deodorant before. Poor guy. He's such a good brother.
Did he know? Does he know?
Yeah, I asked him.
He just immediately threw it away
I'm
after
surprised.
he used it, that's all.
Yeah. He would just put it on the
Probably.
ground, started stomping on it. Just being
He's
like,
burning
alright.
it. He just throws it in the fucking
One thing,
grill
to
or
get back to
something.
the
oh, is it to the moon?
focus of this.
Oh, right,
I
we
mean,
should actually
whatever,
be,
that's what we do.
Well, hold on to your fucking hats, because this one...
All right, well, glad I'm wearing one. Not.
Isn't it obvious that intentionally impressing people is impossible? Don't bother. You either come off as an asshole, or you'd come off as a trying too hard type of guy.
Wait,
Go for it.
so you're saying intentionally impressing people is impossible?
Mm-hmm. It is.
And I hate to say this, but all of the entertainers that sell tickets for their concerts or their whatever shows are intentionally trying to impress the audience, and they're doing a pretty good job, Phil. doing a pretty good job.
Professionally, I find it to be that it's...
They were talking about non-professionals? It's impossible?
I'm talking about non-professionals, but even going to a theater or watching the football game, eating nachos, drinking beer,
I
enjoying
miss this.
football.
Do you?
A little.
You miss football?
No, I miss like going to like a stadium and having garbage nachos and plastic cheese with chips that are
What,
too
Boone's
salty.
game don't
and this-
have that. It's like
pickled-
kale chips and...
I've
Right.
never actually been to their new stadium, so I honestly couldn't tell you.
So you're
But
saying we're
Wait,
going to go to a
wait.
Twins
I'm
game
thinking
at
of
some point?
baseball.
You're going to get bad nachos and a
yes,
novelty helmet.
and a like a watery beer.
How do you
Watery
miss
beer.
this? Something that's still missable? Like you...
Well, the
A little
going
bit.
out.
You
yeah,
can't
the
go to a
option of
game
going
now.
out. Want to go to a Saints
Just
game
going out to-
so bad.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
Saints game, for the listeners, Saints is not a major league baseball organization. They're what would you call?
They're a part.
minor
No,
league?
it's
They're like a
American
little-
Baseball Association. They're not even minor league.
Yeah, they're like a little organization.
It's
that,
It's basically
I don't know. It's tiny
small
and
time,
adorable.
medium city baseball. That's all it is.
Yep.
I've heard this guy in line as I'm trying to get my dollar beer try to explain to his date about how these baseball players are a little bit better than high school, and trust me, I know I played baseball. And the guy is like trying really
Yeah,
hard to
uh-huh.
To
like
be impressive.
to be impressive, and the girl's like, "Oh, really? Okay." And I'm like,
She's like, whatever,
"What
man.
is
Well,
what
This
is
isn't why I'm
going-
here.
What is going on here? Like, you're not here to watch good baseball. You're here to be entertained, and it's entertainable. Like, they give you
Mhm.
affordable beer, they give
Yeah.
you great,
And the baseball
like,
is a background
salty food.
to this going to a
Right.
cheapish bar,
Experience.
which is really all you're doing.
Yes. Right, and then, I mean, I think that by far the most enjoyable sporting event has nothing really to do with sport. Like, baseball in and of itself isn't something that
debate-
really has a
it's
lot of...
that.
the levels of professionalism
Depends on
is an indicator of the quality of entertainment of the sport itself as the main event.
also I know some like crazy ass fans, man, who like will go to every game, and they definitely watch the game and they don't really care about the extra other stuff. They're
It's the
there to watch
Vikings
the
fan
game.
that comes with his
and
own
cheer for them.
radio to get the real-time play-by-play.
Wait, are you
No,
talking about the
I'm thinking
Saints?
about the Loons. They have their own like cheering section. There's
No,
like
I-
a crazy.
Let me rephrase it. I'm talking like specifically the Saints. Like as far as why it's so enjoyable is because I'm not really there to be impressed by high tier baseball.
It's not a matter of
I'm
high-tier
enjoying-
baseball. It is college
Yeah.
baseball plus. Like, these people professionally play baseball. They do, but they make like 40 grand a year. It's not great,
Yeah, I mean it's not too
but
bad.
they are
No,
doing
but
this
it's
and they're
not-
playing to the best of their ability for the chance of getting into a major league club. So with that as the
Right.
background, there's the ambient entertainment of the stadium, as well as
And it's like a smaller, more
Mm.
intimate feeling too. At a major league stadium, like there's thousands of people. The seats
Yeah.
are you're far back. Like at the Saints Park, I guess you could call it. You're really close to the infield, and like you can
have a conversation with
like
the
in
ball
the
players.
and there's you can hear yourself
Yeah.
freaking think too, because there isn't 1,000 people crammed in like sardines around you. Like you can actually hear what's
there's
going
a
on and
huge-
enjoy the
and
weather.
that's another thing, because it's not so much that you're just watching baseball. You are in a capital city outside in summer, and there's ample shade because they usually play in the afternoon, so the big buildings are blocking the sun, but it's still 75
Yeah, it's
degrees.
not like it's
yeah.
on fire.
You're not in the outfield at Target Field,
Right.
which is not a pleasant
Yeah.
place to watch a baseball game.
I've been there. Yeah, I've been there. It's rough. Or
I-
even just the new Twin Stadium. There's like a spot down below where it's just like, if it's sunny out, you're
Mhm.
you're getting fried.
Oh,
like a
I
freaking
went
lobster.
to a game
Like a-
in Milwaukee where it was Twins against Brewers, and me and my brother got these really cheap seats, and we're like, "Wow, this is bonkers." We're in the lower bowl, we're like 20 rows back, and we sat down, and the sun came out from the clouds, and all the clouds disappeared, and we realized why those
Oh,
seats were
no.
cheaper. There was zero shade,
Yeah.
and we were the first row that was outside of the shade of the upper tier.
Oh, that's so rough.
And because this was at like the height of my baseball obsession, and I'm sitting there with my arms crossed for like 5 innings straight, and they're like, "Let's go get a beer." I'm like, "Yeah, that sounds good." And I remove, and I just have a
Oh, no.
handprint of white, and everything else is just red. It was fantastic. Best sunburn from a baseball game.
I'm still gonna go ahead with my original point here. I'm
What
sorry
was the
for
original point?
dragging. Yeah, the original point. Thanks, Micah.
It's impossible to impress people intentionally.
Yeah,
Like
because
you're
I'm not.
you're gonna come off looking like a fool.
The reason why I say like sporting events and even like going to a concert is like I'm not really there to be impressed. I'm really kind of there to like enjoy myself. And
What
if
about like
I
a stuntman,
oh
like a stuntman show, or
Well,
a talent
you clearly
show?
have an example.
yeah, talent shows especially.
Like, you clearly have an example of a situation that you went to enjoy yourself, and you felt that whomever you were there to view was a bit much of a tryhard. What is that example?
I think it was more like a concert where they really tried to play the guitar like by going upside down and just really showing off their skills that they can play. And I'm like,
Was this
okay,
a Dave
I mean,
Matthews
a
Band
part of me
concert,
just...
or...
I'm moving forward here because I don't want to actually reveal my hand to be
Oh,
judged
no.
even more.
Reveal your hand,
But-
Phil. I called your bluff.
Okay.
We can ask the editor to maybe block it out later.
Yeah,
It's
we can
super
censor it
embarrassing,
and just
but
have it be
don't
fun.
do it. Don't do
but
it.
We need to know,
Just-
for the sake of your context, as to what you're viewing as the try-hard, over-impressing kind of thing.
Oh man, I'm gonna get
Is it Poison?
so many
Hate.
so many
It's going to be all the
responses
hate
of this.
mail.
Is it Motley
Yes.
Crue?
Send your complaints to
So it
someone
was
else
like-
at gmail.com.
Well, yeah, no, that's
Like
fine.
this is back a long time ago when I was listening
Nu
to
metal?
that type of music.
Yeah.
Right. And
Oh,
a
don't
friend
worry
of mine said, "We gotta go to the concert. It's just gonna be super fantastic." And I'm like, "Okay, sure, why not? You know, like I'm all for like new things." So we go there and they're playing, and a part of me wanted to say something like, "This isn't." There's a really fine line of being like, "I'm impressive," but also I'm an asshole. Someone who goes and does something like that, in my head, is like, wow, you're just kind of a show off. Like it
But
comes off wrong.
They're not so much a show-off when they're trying to put on a show.
Well, that's the difference. Is like there's a level of expectation, and if you're within that band, or if you're doing something like clever but like
Mhm.
effortlessly, and of course that's all rehearsed, then it would be like, oh, okay, that was actually pretty impressive, right? It looks like
Mhm.
it's natural, as if it were like off the cuff or something that they just kind of decide to throw a flare in there. But if you can tell like the mechanics behind it, right? Like this is a show, and this is kind of like I am going to try to impress you by performing this stunt. In the back of my head, I'm more
You're like, oh god, this guy is such a douche.
yes, right. So like,
ugh,
there's,
could you
it's
just
very,
not? Could you just behave like a normal fucking human
Have-
being for
that's-
like
have
5
you-
minutes? I have a specific friend I'm thinking of.
No,
Love him
I
to
think-
death, but oh my god, he's just such a
007?
yeah.
Have you been to
don't.
a festival-type atmosphere
Love him to death.
where
Good
there's
lord.
multiple acts
Yeah,
in short
Renfest?
shows?
Yes, the Minnesota Renaissance Festival
good
is
times.
a mainstay here. Yes.
I think I've watched the Tortuga Twins too many times to count. Too many times to
Right,
count.
and I'll just so
By the way,
finish the rest of your
well done,
question,
guys.
Micah. Wait, what do you mean well done?
the Tortuga
Oh,
Twins.
okay.
They're good. They're fun. I mean, obviously I've seen their show too many times, like I pretty much have it memorized, but so like it's not as fun for me anymore. But I still enjoyed their show. They're good. They do a good job. They're fun.
That's a
They're
glowing
entertaining.
recommendation by Sarah, who says, if you happen to be in the Minnesota Renaissance Festival,
Dude, they've been there for like
fun.
I don't even know 15, 16 plus years and running. I've been like almost every year. I haven't been in the last couple just cuz it's all the way down south and like I just can't get myself to drive out there, but it's still fun and I don't know, good memories. And they're funny. If you
My
haven't seen their show like 15 times. So
I've been in that show like a few times. I would say maybe 3 or 4 times. And I can tell when they're just tired, right? Like
Yeah.
they're just doing the same.
like it's the last week of the summer and
Right.
you're just like, oh god.
And not that they ever try to be like that show offy, but you can tell that they're doing a performance hit or a piece,
Yeah.
right? But the ones that are actually like the funniest ones I've seen, and again I've only seen like maybe less than a handful, is when the crowd is really into it and
Yeah.
it's like a totally new crowd. They just happen to be there on some random day and they never heard of these guys. And you get a different sense of energy, but really they just go like off the rails and they just
Yeah.
stop caring about what the script was. And that is hilarious.
That's the best.
So-
that is the best.
Like the ability for them to kind of be able to adapt quickly, but not seem like they're again trying at all. It's just something that they're just
Well,
like,
they've also
playing.
done this for frickin' ever. Every summer, I'm sure they do over 100 shows through different Renaissance fairs throughout the nation over the summer. That's their livelihood, so they better be good at it. But they don't even have to. Like they've done it so much that it's not even a try for them anymore. They just, and if they go off the rails or if they go like off script a little bit, they have a way to bring it back. They've done it so much that it's obvious how to return back to what, the framework, but they don't have to stay in that either. That's how good they are. That's how much experience they have. They're not, it's not about impressing, it's about having fun, I think.
Yeah,
But also putting on a show.
I think that's my thought too. Is I remember going to the Renaissance Festival, and it's not the Tortuga Twins, but it's a guy that kind of like has like a whole performance based of heights, and he would be on top of things, and there would be fire, and he would be kind of like unicycling on something, and there's this kind of
He doesn't have a main stage. He just has like a
right. It's
sort
like
of a
kind of on
spot.
a spot on the beaten path, and then afterwards he would be like, "Oh, this is what I do for a living. Like if you like to support, please, do so." Because it's not like you get to like you said, a main stage or anything. And although I guess you could call it impressive to see that,
It doesn't catch my eye. I don't think I've ever stuck around to watch his show, to be honest. Sorry, buddy.
well,
No offense if you're listening, you aren't. But
I think that my thought is that it's obviously hard to do, right? Like I couldn't do it, right? But I don't know. I find it more exciting to watch. Like you're kind of waiting for something bad to happen, but not real. Like you're not really impressive, but just curious and exciting. But again, I wouldn't consider that to be like, oh wow, everything he's doing is impressive. It's more like, oh wow, this guy spent a lot of time on this tradecraft, and it shows.
yeah, and that's a different feeling than some douchey other person who's just like, I'm gonna jump up on this thing and do some cool moves that just to fuck around, and you're just like, ugh,
right.
can you just not do this in public? Could you just act like a normal fucking human being for once, please?
Or when someone says, well, actually, and then enters a diatribe.
Micah.
And it's like, Micah never said, well, actually, first of all.
He does. He does.
No, that is not true.
It is true.
For the listeners, Micah is looking as if he's trying to recall if he did. No, my thought is, the reason why I have this is because I came to the impression where I'm trying to get new hires, like show them the ropes and stuff, and I quickly realized that they're not impressed by anything. They're just
Wait, you're actually hiring right now?
this is true. I am. Okay.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
You're hiring right now.
I am.
In the middle of this epidemic. Sorry.
Well,
Pandemic.
certain
Whatever.
types of industries
Whatever.
need people, and unfortunately mine is going to be maybe one of them, but also maybe everyone gets laid off, so that's going to be fun.
Yeah, there's that.
So if we get marching orders, then we're forced to make only nothing but certain types of things to help for the pandemic, which ruins
Ventilators.
everything for us, because that's not my business unit. But it just destroys all our basic supply chain management, our project objectives. Like, we don't need as many of us because the marching orders came in.
Yeah, that'll suck.
It's like wartime production order would just basically make me obsolete.
It's cool, but also really garbage for the people who end up having to
I'm not like against
do that.
the thing is, like, if I didn't know anything about my industry, I would be clamoring for it. I'd be like, well, obviously it should be done. But since I'm inside this industry, I'm like, you would have sacrificed 90% of everything else to be able to support, like, basic other medical devices because you're focusing on just this alone. So all science and even production of everything else is going to be not on hiatus, but not even like in deep storage, but just
Phil,
shambled.
90% of things have been ground to a halt. Is that what you're telling me?
Not in.
Is that what I'm hearing?
Hey, the only thing that matters is I can get a McMuffin right now.
I'm sorry, I have very little empathy for your company right now, where like pretty much every service industry I can think of is, except for grocery stores and liquor stores, are, like gone.
Just gone. Not even decimated.
Ooh.
Just gone.
Just like you can maybe get takeout, but I don't think that's really gonna, solve their
their margins are
impending doom.
Yeah, I heard.
So.
Well, okay. I guess you can say that I understand why you're not empathetic.
Not really. No.
And I will
Sorry.
just say,
I'm empathetic in like the sense that it's hard and it sucks and like it's not fun, but I'm being that asshole who's going, yeah, but someone has to step up and do something because clearly, you guys are able. So do it.
I feel like
do it. I don't care if you have to sacrifice.
I feel like the spokesman of like, listen, let's pump the brakes so we don't lose our profits. Like suddenly I'm on the other side of this coin.
What profits?
No. I agree.
But no, it does suck. It does because you end up having to gut half your people because you don't need that many people if you're only focusing on producing one or two things.
Right. And that's fair. I mean, It's what it is. It's extreme, but
It's not fair.
no,
It's really
it's
not fair.
no, it's fair in the sense that like no one, and let's just face it, all elective type surgeries are not even going to be done right now,
No,
right? So it's
no.
like
My uncle has cancer and he can't
right.
get an
That's
operation.
Okay, that's not really
It's not.
elective, but that's
In this case, it's benign, so it's not.
oh,
He's
Okay.
not in danger of it,
Okay, yes.
metastasizing or anything. So he's
But
like,
still,
he's like,
that's
well, we'll
But-
see.
Well, the other
maybe
side
this summer.
effect is
Like,
those coming
there's
in
no
with
thing.
the COVID symptoms. Like, that's also clocking it up for other heart attacks aren't being taken, or like car accidents are kind of falling down, because where do you shuffle that in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who lives? Who dies? Who chooses?
Well, we could just start having
yeah.
COVID parties. Really.
like chicken pox.
F those guys. F those guys. Like, to be fair, it was another time. It was another time, guys. I was thinking, yeah, it's not so bad. It's it's like the flu. I wish I could work. Like, this whole like staying home thing is garbage, and I was kind of a little upset. But like, now that I know more,
I didn't know you were a Trump supporter.
Yeah.
I'm not. I was just as ignorant as he is. So, but now that I know more, I understand the sacrifices that we have to make. And unlike our commander in Cheeto, I can take the advice of the CDC.
All right, so you're
and
gonna
do the right thing.
like. Do you want to
Anyway.
chime in on this, or am I gonna have to play devil's
Well,
advocate?
this is on you.
Okay.
I'm taking a slight back seat
Well-
in this conversation just to see you guys go at each other. It's pretty fun. Entertain me.
So,
Eat scrapes.
Dance, puppets, dance.
in the defense of the libertarian,
Oh, this will be good.
These guys again. Yeah, all right, go on.
like it's really one thing to blame the administration of their incompetence of the situation, but it really does kind of make me laugh because I did switch positions in the sense that at first I thought this was nothing more than a flu. Like someone made a like an analogy, not even an analogy, like a comparison. How many people die in car accidents a year, and we don't shut down the economy for that? Well, I don't know what's the stats. Like,
Are you enjoying those false equivalencies?
Well, that's the thing. It's that
And not only is it a false equivalency, it's not even going to make it's not like the people who die in car accidents still isn't going to be as many people that are going to die of this disease.
well, no, but in the beginning, right, when it was like, oh, these are nothing but flu symptoms, and
in the beginning,
I
Dramatic
was
music.
like, oh, well, yeah, that makes like in my head, that's like, well, that makes sense to me. I still booked tickets to go to international airports and such to get things done, and it didn't really bat an eye. And when I went to the sites to do these like work things, none of them mentioned anything about it, right? Like they're talking about things like climate change and how their environment is changing to a point where it's winter doesn't last as long. Isn't that nice, right? Like that was the background of like common talk for all of us while things were happening in Asia. So then I don't know, for some reason I just felt like it wasn't that big of a deal. And that's when the action should have taken place at that point, right? Like, okay, well now we really need
back in January when they knew about it,
Right.
and they're like, "Hey, this is happening over in China right now. We should maybe, I don't know, prepare for it and stop transportation. Maybe start production of things we might need. Ask, China and whoever else is affected for advice on how they're dealing with it."
Well, and this is why I'm coming to the defense of the libertarian side of it, is because at that time I didn't feel like I was a dumb person, although I am dumb in many things.
We're all dumb.
I just looked at it like, well, let's just say that in the background they were working very diligently to start ordering respirators and to start catching this before it got out of control and start doing things more like stay-at-home orders. Like that would be considered crazily overkill at that time, right? Like now it wouldn't be. Now it would be considered prudent, but at that time it would be like people like me would be like, wait a minute, this is nothing worse than the flu.
On the sense of you're looking
Same.
at other government's responses to the outbreak, where
Yeah. Like, and they have actual numbers of people who are dying of this. It's not like they're a separate species that we can just ignore.
South Korea
Like,
did not hold back on what they needed to do at a federal governmental level to
they shut that fucking
were like,
virus down.
stopping everything for 2 weeks now is going to hurt a lot less than if we just like shut down Seoul and then have other places go unchecked. They really reared in their country, and you can compare that to
I
Japan
have
because
no
Japan didn't do that as fast, and Japan had more deaths.
Nope, and they're still didn't. They were still like.
And that's not even touching on how
Right,
poorly Europe
how they
responded
was-
to it.
I don't know how the hell South Korea pulled this one off, because usually, and I'm not trying to like disparage the entire nation. Thanks, Patreon supporters of those who are from South Korea. We really appreciate your support. There was a
Actually, this is actually a benefit to them, though, right? Like we're complimenting.
yeah. I mean, like I remember
In a way.
a ferry accident that happened not that long ago, where they were transporting
Mhm.
students to
Yep.
Jeju Island, and their version of the National Safety Highway Transportation board, or whatever they call it for us, like they have their version, of course, like every first world country should, and they completely mismanaged that entire investigation. And the NPR like the National Public Radio response to that was like, well, they're still like a teenager in the sense of getting all the bureaucracy in a row.
So, I feel that the origin of this topic, being people who try hard, has a direct correlation with how poorly
What were
our
we talking
president
about?
has responded to the current epidemic.
Oh, he's trying so hard and
he-
failing
He
miserably
tries so
to
hard
impress
to be
anyone
like,
with
I'm
his...
the knowledgeable one. I am the stable genius that knows all the gooder words.
I knew it was a pandemic before anyone else was calling it a pandemic, even though
This is
earlier
a
I was
democratic
like,
hoax.
this is like the flu, and yeah.
Yeah, that didn't help. And in retrospect, saying that probably was the wrong way to start this the actions that will have to take place, because now people really do believe it's a hoax enough to like cause serious damage, like train derailment,
Seriously.
and that was a misstep.
Oh, it's
I
not.
will
It's more
admit.
than a misstep.
But-
And going to your libertarian thing, his press conference is a slap in the face of any libertarian that voted for Trump because they thought he was gonna bring back small-time government and give states more rights to give their free will.
No, he's just doing
Yeah.
nothing. He's just...
By saying the national stockpile
Just-
is not for the states, it's a real slap in the face to
Yeah,
any
that's-
libertarian who voted for him in any way, shape, or form.
he's
The only way I
worst.
can interpret that is like, holy shit, does that mean that he's gonna send these to like who are these for?
It's
then,
for
if
the
not
federal
for the
government
states?
only,
Like,
not for states. Even
the-
though the states pay for it.
It's like,
Which doesn't make sense because they
Exactly.
have
Nothing he
no-
does makes sense. You have
So, speaking of marching orders,
so we're all over the
what
board.
topic? What were
What
we
was the
talking about?
But a
I
main
don't
thing with
even know.
tryhards is
Well-
they try hard once and they had a reaction out of it, and they are just Pavlovianly doing that same try hard.
Or they're just narcissists. No, they're just narcissists who think they like can impress people by doing things that aren't really that impressive. Like they're definitely insecure, but they're not. They're insecure in the wrong way.
well, I think it's more like the people who aim to try to impress people do it in a more nonchalant and passive way. They're not going to name drop people that they know, or they're not going to buy a fancy sports car, because I don't think I'm ever impressed again by anyone
I'm
who
never
drives
impressed
like
by any of those
look
things.
at this
'cause most of the
new-
time, I don't know the people they're talking about, and I could give two shits about your fancy whatever.
right. I'm
Stuff isn't impressive to me.
like, we had a discussion a long time back about, hey, look, so and so bought a BMW 3 Series. In my head, I'm
Okay.
like, wow, that's not really that impressive,
Nope.
right?
No,
Like, it just
it's
seems
not.
like an albatross. Like, it
I mean,
just
it's better
seems
than my car,
all
but
risk,
still,
no
I don't
reward.
care.
If you happen to own a BMW, please continue to support us on Patreon.
Hey, my mom owns a BMW.
Thanks, Mom.
I'm not impressed. I'm just not impressed.
Thanks, Mom.
Not impressed. But you know what? It makes you happy, so you do you. That's all that
But
matters.
does it
If
actually make your mother
machine
happy
makes
owning a
you happy.
BMW? Or would she be happy with any other
She's
stupidly expensive car?
appreciates like the status.
But how
symbol.
is that different
that's
from, like, an
something that's
Audi?
important to her.
Or a Mercedes?
Yeah.
I have no idea, honestly. I don't know enough about cars to care about the difference. The difference is the name. It has nothing to do with the car itself. It's really just to be able to say I worked hard and look what I have. That's what it is. That's what it's about. But that's a different thing than like trying to impress someone. That's doing something for yourself. That's like buying a status symbol. I mean, you're still like showing it off, but it's not really necessarily to
But
impress someone. It's
It
just
is,
more of
in a way.
It is, but it's not just about look what I have and what you don't. It's like, hey, look, I worked hard. Look at what I have.
Who cares if they worked hard, right?
I
Like
mean,
everyone
true. I don't. I
works
mean,
hard. I'm being serious when
I care because I'm like my mom's daughter. Say, like she worked hard, so I'm in, like.
But you
She worked
know
hard for.
you
Yeah, I
already
know.
know she
But
worked
getting
hard.
that
She
type
doesn't
of-
need to
but
own a car to
sometimes-
do
But the
Sometimes
status
people
symbol
need-
of owning a BMW
Some people
is
need.
I have worked.
Some people need validation. They do. Yeah. Well, no. Some people need validation, and it can't just be words. Sometimes it has to be stuff.
I think it's okay to be like,
Because words are wind.
I like this thing. Like, I like Alienware PCs, even though they're way too overpriced and terribly underperforming.
Yep.
But I like them because this is what I wanted to have when I was a kid. And one day when I'm successful, I can own one myself.
Yep.
Right? Like, I can see that as a
That's-
milestone achieved, and it's just for me. By the way, I don't have an Alienware.
Honestly, that's
Yeah.
really what it is. No, that's what it is for my
But-
mom. Like,
Yeah,
she
that I
grew
can
up,
agree with.
Like, thinking like a BMW is like the
Is
top
just
tier car. I want
Right.
that when I grow up.
Right. And I can understand that. Like, I can appreciate someone saying, like, if I meet my goal, I will reward myself with that. Fair enough. Like, that makes sense. But to say something like, I'm going to buy a luxury vehicle, it's like, okay, well, you must really like luxury then. It's like, oh, no, it's a reward. Okay, cool. But I also want to impress people. It's like, okay, you lost me in that last
Yeah.
one. Like, because
Well,
no one
yeah.
is impressed by it in the sense because everyone's just going to assume labels associated with it.
Yeah, they're like,
And
I don't care.
they're
Whatever.
not exactly very good ones because people, especially in this type of economy, if you drive a very flashy car, like you're not going to get a lot of like, oh wow, that person's successful. You're going to get like a lot of like, wow, what an asshole, right?
Yeah.
But then that same
Yeah.
thing falls into
So
the
that's just my
labels don't only go for the high end. Labels also fall on those in the low end. If you're dealing with like a Honda Civic with, it's a brown car, but you have a white door, there's a lot of assumptions that go into that. Like,
By the way, for the listeners, I own a Honda
do you have
Civic.
one door that is not of
And
the same
I
color as
probably-
the rest of the car?
Not
Listen, there's nothing wrong with
Not
them.
yet.
No,
They're a good
but they're
car.
also a
They're-
cheap
they're
car,
affordable,
and that gives
they
you.
last forever. But they
Sure.
last forever, and they get you from point A to point B.
Yes, they
They're
are
a
functional,
solid car.
but
There's
that
nothing
in
wrong
itself
with
is
that.
also a claim on your status. Yes.
right. A Spork
really.
is also functional,
It just
but you
means you're
wouldn't.
smart. To me, that's like, oh, you're smart because the car doesn't matter. It's a tool to you.
The one door white and the rest of it brown is like, okay, look,
That's like
this
that's
is
And you're
This
still
is one of the
using
perks
the
of
like
owning a
spare
Civic, is that
donut,
there's-
and you're definitely over the 2,000 miles you're supposed to go on it or something.
there is.
dear.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. There is
Yeah,
the flip
there is
side
the
to
whole
this.
other
Like,
side. Well, sure, you're looking
will
at
get-
Mercedes, BMWs,
Right.
and Alfa Romeos, like, oh yeah, that's the high end. But there's also the same assumptions you make with someone who's driving a rusty 1988 Ford F-150.
Right. I mean, what do you
It's
call
called
that if it's
stereotyping.
not
It's all just
like,
stereotyping.
look, I'm not. But no,
What about if you had like a really fancy Tesla, but it had one white
Well,
door? It
no,
was a
see,
black
then
Tesla,
that
but it
is
had one white
the
door.
Wow.
merging of
Wow.
the two ends.
What
And you
would
just
that
made an
be?
Einstein-Rosen bridge because it's already the pretentiousness of someone owning a Tesla,
Whoa.
plus the laziness
Hey,
of
Teslas
not
are
painting
awesome.
your one goddamn door the same color.
Yeah, I mean, if
Right.
you're already gonna buy a Tesla, you might as well just get the freaking new door.
Okay, this is fantastic because you
You're
know
gonna
what's
buy a
going to
Tesla?
happen, and I'm not. There's no way I can afford any of these like cars that exist
Well,
out there.
Yeah, wait till the economy
Generally
collapses, then they'll be
speaking.
worth nothing.
Exactly.
In
they
fact,
will
they'll be
buy-
worth less
yep.
than your Honda Civic because your Honda Civic is easily repairable. Unlike a Maserati, that you need
Mhm.
someone who has the equivalent of a bachelor's degree just in engineering for how dumb those cars were designed.
They're not designed to be used as a car. They're designed to be used as like a, I don't know, something to be.
They're basically collector's editions.
It's
You
a-
I
use
don't even
them
know how
like
to say
3
it.
times a year,
Yeah,
less
they're
than
like-
100 miles, and that's it. They are not daily use vehicles.
Correct. And
I can't do it. I can't do it, you guys.
They're-
They're
but
just
they are not
cars.
just
They're
cars.
literally just cars. Can
But
we?
they aren't.
They are. And they
Why do
should
you own
be.
the couch you own?
I
Okay,
just
I-
want just a car.
Why do you own the couch you own?
What?
Like your
You're
couch?
getting
no,
very
no, no,
personal.
but your couch
Micah.
upstairs.
You're in
Yes,
thin
your couch-
ice.
My couch?
Your couch upstairs.
My couch upstairs? Because it was big and comfortable and
Why not just get
affordable.
like a futon or a
It
beanbag chair?
wasn't.
That's definitely cheaper, but it does the same
that's
thing.
Not well. Yeah, but it's not comfortable, and a couch
Oh, so
is
like personal
comfortable.
preference
Like a couch should
pays
be.
a factor into it.
No. A couch should be a couch is specifically designed as a comfort.
And what about the couch behind you?
You can't just not
currently?
That actually is a pretty comfortable couch. However, that was a sitting room couch that I inherited
sitting room couch
from my parents. A sitting room, not a living room couch, a sitting room couch. So it's
you're veering into BMW territory
harder.
by saying there's a room in your house that's a sitting room that is different than
listen,
the living room.
Listen. Okay, well, not in my house. I just inherited this couch. But in my growing up house with my parents, who worked very hard for what they got, all right?
Thanks,
they
Mom.
did, man. They worked way harder than I work now. Anyway, this nice couch behind me that you can't see, listeners, because it's a nice couch. It's dark and red, and it's not comfortable, but it's not uncomfortable. It's meant to be sat on with, you're supposed to have like a conversation. Like the couch upstairs you could take a nap on, right? That's what a couch should be. Something you could just curl up and take a nap on with a blanket. This couch down here, not so much of a napping couch.
I don't know. I've slept on that couch.
It's a conversation couch.
Yeah.
Have you?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you have. Yeah, you have.
No.
Was it a comfortable couch?
It's not bad. It's not bad, but yeah, it's not meant for sleeping. It's not meant for curling up and taking a nap. It is literally for sitting.
So you can have a conversation that lasts at most 43 minutes. And to round it out, listeners, consiglieres, and of course, our mothers.
Don't worry about impressing people.
No.
Don't do it. Right. It's not worth it. No one cares. No one
or
gives
if you feel you have to impress
shit.
people, just
Which
impress
is why
people.
I'm in my PJs, no makeup. That's why these guys are in t-shirts and no makeup. Thank you, guys.
I have so much foundation on right now.
That's very offensive.
I can't actually smile or else it'll crack. That's how makeup works, right?
Okay. Well, I appreciate the effort you put in, but it was totally unnecessary.
And unimpressive.
And also unimpressive.
I'm trying, all right? I'm taking this quarantine. I'm working on my makeup game. Look at my nails.
The real lesson here is to, you don't have to look at my nails. Look at these fancy.
All right, I'm trying to wrap up the show.
For listeners, she is
beautiful?
not
I know,
flipping
I'm
us
sorry.
off.
You are the one who distracted me with your fucking nails, all right? The real lesson here is don't try to be impressive. No one gives a fuck. You're wasting your time.
Bye, Mom.
Bye, Mom.
Thanks, Mom. Bye.